Welcome to the show. It's deep with a twist. We're laughing through the scriptures where humor coexists. Cultural. Come on and take a seat. It's faithful and it's fun. Wherever it meets feet. Dive into the stories. Hear the podcast call. It's Mormon stuff with a smile in the cultural hall.
It is time for another episode of the Cultural Hall. It is an Articles of News episode. I'm joined by the news wizard, Verlin. Welcome into the Cultural Hall, sir.
I am glad to be here, as always.
The song in my head, because you say you will accuse me often of having a song always when we start this, and I was going to start this episode with I see a red brick and I want to paint it white, because right behind Verlin there is a painted brick background. He's in his new house in the studio. How much do you love it?
Absolutely love the new house. We're still doing work. The electrician was here today hanging the pendant lamps over the kitchen island.
Okay. So
yeah.
Still doing some of those tweaks, but livable. You're back home.
Enjoyable. We're back home. We're happy to be here.
So much. You and my newest Facebook friend, Susan Yaud.
Did she actually? She accepted.
Yeah.
Big news. Good.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
And went so far as to say, you know what? I don't even use the social media apps that much. So it was an intentional thing when I saw your request come across that I had to both log in and do it. That's how much effort I put into becoming your Facebook friend. So thank you, Susan Yaud.
Very nice.
We are going to get into the news because that is what we're doing, but I want to stress this first. So I'm going to take off my Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints podcasting hat, and I'm going to put on my small business entrepreneur hat, and I'm going to give a piece of advice to everyone. You could apply this in your calling in church. You could apply this to your business. You could apply this, I think, straight across the board. If I had thought about this for more than even 10 seconds, I might even have a sounder that says something like, business tips, or life hack with Richie, whatever. We didn't. Here it is. So, first of all, let's apply this strictly to business, and then I'll extrapolate it out for other purposes. So as you probably will hear, I run a business called Best DJ in Utah. It is a private business that I own. I have people who work for me. Small business. We do
with incredibly
events.
Creative commercials during the episodes of the Culture Hall.
Yeah, incredibly creative. Thank you for that. We weddings, baptisms, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs.
You'll even do a funeral.
I'll even do a funeral. Thank you for quoting myself to me. I appreciate that. Here's the deal. So I run that business, and according to that, I have a Google business page, and according to that, I have a telephone number, and people can call me. They also, because of some advertisements that I do through Google, can get an ad that's popped up if they're searching around DJ stuff, and they can fill out a form that says, I'm having an event on the 1st of August, and it will be at blank place, and it's going to be this time and whatever, and here's my email address, and here's my telephone number. All this you didn't need to know, but it is the primer for this. If you want to do, I would say, above average in business. Let's just say above average. I'm not going to say, I don't think you could be top of the heap with the advice that I'm about to give you, but just above average. When people make an inquiry to you, are you ready for this, Verlin? This is going to be...
I can barely wait.
Yeah. When people make an inquiry of you...
I'm shivering with anticipation.
Or maybe you go and you do they ask for you to do an estimate at their home. Maybe that's the kind of thing that you do professionally. Or maybe you're in the trades and they say, hey, we would like you to go and fix this thing in our particular house. I'm going to shatter small business myths right now with what I'm about to say. You will be above average guaranteed if you just call the person in a timely manner. That's it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, everyone. The amount of people that will send me their telephone number and their contact information, and I try and get to them almost immediately, right? I recognize there are some boundary issues that I don't have in place. There are other, calls on my time. There are definitely things that I could do better around that. But the amount of times where I will talk to potential clients and say, yeah, you guys are still shopping around, and they're like, yeah, we put this in the same time with you, and we haven't heard from anyone yet. And, we never even heard from two of these. We would love to go with you because you're the person who replied, which I want to be more than the person who replied. But guess what? Above average, I am the person who replies, and I will take it. And I guarantee you, without question, without hesitation, if you are the person who will call back, who will provide the quote in a timely manner, who will go and do the thing as is expected, you will be easily in the top 25% of what you do. And you don't even have to be like phenomenal at it. Just be committed to doing the thing. Oh, now I've lost you. You are muted, my friend. For some reason. Yep, I think
I'm back.
There you are.
This
There you
truism
are.
holds beyond just your business and beyond very small business. It holds in very large business too. If you will follow up, if you will respond in a timely fashion, you will be in the top 25%.
Yeah. Now, how can we apply this to church stuff? Great. Okay. Listen, a lot of people, we love to trot this out like Moses, he didn't know what to do. Joseph Smith was but a small boy. All of these things. Here's the thing, and I don't want to. I am going quickly through this because I'm sure there are some people like, yeah, we get it. Can we move on to some news? If you just do it, you will be whatever that calling is. If you just are like, listen, I'm not going to quit until they release me, and I'm just going to show up, right? I'm not moving mountains. I don't have the answer for the person that has the doctrinal issue about whatever, but I will just show up and be like, Verlin, how are you?
Mm-hmm. Top 25%.
Top 25 percentile without question.
Yes.
More of an impact without question.
This is true.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. Well, we should get
Okay.
to some news. One thing that I would love for you to do, if people are following us on YouTube, you need to subscribe. Very close to 1,000. What happens at 1,000? I think we can start monetizing things, and then I can start being able to like spiff the different co-hosts, and we can make it look better, and even better, and even better, and even better. So go and subscribe if you haven't yet. Verlin, I'm going to ask that you take like 3 inches to the, I think it's probably your right, so you are center of that. There we go. That my OCD was coming after me in a big way right there. I was like,
I'm trying to find.
and now we have lost Verlin, but I'm going to continue to be here. We're going to come back in just a second, and we'll do actual articles of news. The turning of another year makes me start to think about how I have not done one of these ads for Best DJ in Utah in over a year. I'm sorry, everyone, but it means business is good. It means you should hire Best DJ in Utah. Why, that's me, and I even have people that work for me, trained by me, affordable, and travel all over. Literally all over, going to Florida this year, for instance. And this year means 2026, not this year, which could have been several years in the past, like we've been doing. You can go to bestdjinutah.com, or you can go and find us on our Google business page. It's Best DJ in Utah. You will see that as of the recording of this, almost 700 5-star reviews. Find out what so many listeners of the Cultural Hall have already found out. I'm great at parties. I'm great in your ear holes, but I'm also great at parties. So find out if I'm available for your date. We can help you out. Weddings, baptisms, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, funerals. I'll do a funeral. BestDJinUtah.com. Here in the second half of Articles of News, we do actual articles of news, so please, would you hit it, Peter Breinholt?
You can't lose articles of news.
And away we go. Verlin has prepped the order of the news today, which means we are starting with President Dallin H. Oaks, honored at BYU with the Tower plaque. Carillon?
Carillon, I believe.
Carillon? None of the above of what I offered up. Okay.
It's the Carillon Tower at BYU, correct?
Now this is the one. This is the bell tower that
This is the bell
plays
tower.
"Come Ye Saints" on the half hour.
That's right, halfway between the Marriott Center and the Fine Arts Building.
Yeah, I would hear that often when I worked at BYU, as I was headed to get a breakfast egg, ham, and cheese sandwich. I would hear it sort of in the distance.
Ah, very nice. A long way to get. So you had to walk over to the Wilkinson Center to grab that, and then
Oh
back
no, there
to
was
the,
like a little. There was like a little halfway shop.
Okay,
It was like a
good.
part of a building where they were like, this is for the students that don't want to go all the way over there, but they
Nice.
need to get something here.
Very
That
good.
kind of place.
Okay, because the studio building isn't that close to the Wilkinson Center, right?
Here is what I know about Provo from my time, 3 years, by the way, living or working in Provo.
Working on campus.
Yeah, I know where to park at the BYU Broadcasting Building. I know where this particular shop to get delicious things to eat to make it through the duration of my time at the BYU Broadcasting Building. I know how to get back in my car, and I know how to go on University Parkway. And on the rare event that University Parkway was particularly like backed up, I know how to get to the freeway via Center Street.
Okay,
That is what
there
I
you
know about Provo.
You never went to Tommy's Burger
Nope.
downtown?
Here's the thing. I never went to
You missed
blank,
out on
done.
so
It.
much.
That's it. I went to.
That's why it never took hold.
Yeah, yep, that's why. That's why I never got a burger. It's a fair point. This is interesting. So President Oaks, obviously former president of BYU, there's sort of an honorarium by giving him this plaque at BYU to go along with the Carillon Bell Tower, given not to him but in honor of him by President Shane Reese. Quote, just as these bells will lift the hearts of the hearers when they hear the hymns and anthems played to thy glory. That's a quote from President Kimball said during the university's centennial year, so now 50 years ago. Quote, let the morality of graduates of this university provide the music of hope for the inhabitants of this planet. So, Bell Tower went in when President Oaks was there. We were honoring him and saying, hey, 50 years ago, and now you're the prophet of the church, and this is a landmark to signal us into the future. Music, we love it. Thanks for being here.
One of the things I love about this story is the bell tower was built before even I was at BYU, so I don't feel quite so old. President Oaks was never my BYU president. President Holland was my BYU president. But I love that they're honoring him as a past president of the university, and it made me wonder, do you think that President Reeves is now on the fast path to becoming a member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles?
Well, I think that it's interesting because who was at that plaque ceremony, but also Elder Clark Gilbert. You will see photos of Shane Reese, Shane's wife, Elder Gilbert and his wife, and then President and Sister Oaks. So, no, I don't think so. I appreciate a good conspiracy theory, but no, I don't think that Shane Reese is like next to be called up. I appreciate that approach.
He's not next. I'm just thinking about Elder Oaks was president of BYU and became a member of the Quorum of the 12 and now prophet. Elder Holland was president of BYU.
Yes.
Who was the next president of BYU? I'm not very good at keeping track.
It was
I can see his face.
the piano
but
guy.
I think the other two are now members of at least the Quorum of the 70.
Sure.
So I think President Reese will certainly be in the Quorum of the 70, and has if you look at history as any predictor of the future, which all our financial people tell us to be careful with, that would mean that President Reese may end up in the Quorum of the 12.
Well, President Reese and Elder Gilbert, same age.
Ah, interesting. Well, Elder Gilbert is very young.
Yeah. Yep.
Compared to the members of the Quorum of the 12 who have been called in the past.
It would be interesting to me if Elder Oaks or President Oaks was like, hey, would one of you be willing to stay after this plaque dedication thing? And Elder
one of you
Gilbert was
stay
like, yeah, I'll do it. And now Elder Reese is like, should have stayed after.
President Reese is like, wait, I have another appointment I have to get to. I'm sorry.
I got other things. I got other things.
Yeah,
So, you can see that picture that we're referencing and be able to see that, and that's great. I think it's great. President Nelson will be the honorarium
Oaks?
name of the medical school there at BYU. So President Oaks should have something there.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Well, What's your guess on when that is finally announced?
Oh, I think we're still years out.
Okay,
But
they need to
by
get to work.
2030.
It's like they made the announcement. If you wait too long, people forget you even announced it. So
Well, but you got to remember that when the medical school at BYU was announced, it was President Nelson going, "Hey, we're going to have a medical school," and everyone went,
He did.
"We are doing this today." Was there an interoffice memo that we got? I didn't see this, you guys. And I
he
love
pulled
that about
profit
President
privilege
Nelson.
is what he did.
Yeah, China Temple, you bet. Russia, come on. Let's.
Yep.
I'm
yep.
throwing it at the wall. Let's see
still,
what sticks.
I'm still waiting for Dubai.
I know
Yeah.
Listen, it's coming. It's coming.
Yep. Well, we're talking about Elder Gilbert. Elder Gilbert, obviously, we spoke about him being called, and we should offline talk again some more, I understand, in terms of how we both are thinking and processing Elder Gilbert. That's
Sure.
great. But Elder Gilbert also had his first social media message as the newest apostle, and he aimed this at YSAs, which I really appreciate, but I think it's true for everyone. And what was his incredible message? It was that the times, they are a-hastening, and so he said, keep striving to bring the Savior into your life. Seems kind of in line with what President Oaks had to say in his recent devotional address at the Brigham Young University.
I'm curious to you. Several people have sort of called this out as a re-entrenchment. Does it feel like that to you personally?
It does not.
Okay.
No. And you and I texted some things back and forth, but my oldest son, my only son, my favorite son, shared something with me the other day about Elder Gilbert's calling, which struck me. For those that are political nut jobs or political science fans, like my son and I
love
are.
that key up. For those that are political nut jobs, and people are like, "Oh yeah, that's me. I'm a political nut job."
discipline that deals with the theory and practice of politics and the
I'm not sure what's playing right now.
I don't know
Is that
what's
on your
playing
end or
right
my
now
end?
either. I have no idea.
From Wikipedia.
Oh my gosh. Siri is listening to me and responding in kind.
Always.
Anyways, he drew an analogy for me, and he said, when President Reagan was elected president of the United States,
Okay.
he passed more legislation that today would be seen as left-leaning than any prior president had passed since FDR. And the reason is because he had appointed such a conservative cabinet that they had the credibility and the support of the conservatives to go get more liberal things done. And so his theory is, with Elder Gilbert being added to the Quorum of the 12,
Okay.
and he has the street cred, if you would call it that, for being
I love that
conservative
you're using that term.
and a company man. With that may give them the opportunity to make some cultural changes, some guideline changes that maybe they've wanted to make for a very long time but haven't been able to do without that kind of strong foundational point of view. And the analogy I used with you was, it makes me wonder, would President Kimball have been able to change the policy in terms of African Americans or blacks in the priesthood had Elder McConkie not been on the Quorum of the 12 Apostles at the time?
Interesting.
So, anyways,
Yeah, we won't know. A lot of
We
people, a
won't
lot
know.
of feelings, a lot of different articles written about Elder Gilbert, and you can certainly hear my interview. We rebroadcast or reshared the interview that I did with him a few years ago, and then our episode last week when it was announced, that late addition to that whole thing. So,
now, what struck me is some of the people I've listened to and read recently shared not so much about his political background or even his doctrinal approach, but his very personal approach to ministry. And what I keep hearing echoed from 2 or 3 different sources now is he cared about individuals and their points of view even when they did not agree with his. And he didn't distance himself from those people. He actually engaged intentionally more with them to be able to understand those points of view. And that's a positive marker for me.
okay. All right. And we remain to be seen. There might be
Yeah.
some further discussion about that. There have been a lot of offline conversations that I don't know that we're ready to go online necessarily with around that. And if I'm being completely honest, just a realization that I had the other day where I recognize that people being called as apostles presently are likely the last leaders of the church I'm going to see in my lifetime. Am I dying? No, I'm not. But when you look at longevity, the lifetime of the individuals who are leaders of the church now, and that likely that will only get longer, I tend to think that the people that are called in the next 10 years, those will be the only prophets of the church that I'll ever see in my lifetime.
Well, I think in your lifetime you're going to see at least 5 to 6 more.
Okay. Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that. And the ones that are called in the next.
They won't all be in the next 10 years. How many
Yes,
more years do you have?
Of course they will. Because if Elder Gilbert, this is the thing that was sort of shocking to me, right? Elder Gilbert, 55. Let's say that he lives 40 years more, right? 95. That's not unheard of, especially in the first presidency right now.
Sure.
So at that point, I am just about a decade younger than Elder Gilbert, right?
Yeah.
So assuming he lives that and I live mine, the average age expectancy
you're
is
saying
72.
You may. Interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way. I was thinking how many more would be called before you pass away.
Yeah, no, he or whoever is called right after him or the next one after that. That's it.
That will be the president of the church.
When I die,
at the end of your lifetime.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an interesting approach. I hadn't even thought about it that way.
That creates some interesting internal and external conversations. That's all I'll say. Let's move on. I want to get.
Yes.
We have done not a great job in the recent past about getting through a lot of news, and so I get done, and then I go, we still got 13 stories. Now, granted, not all of these are huge stories that we need to do, but I do want to talk about this. There is an article about the past, but also the future of the NAACP and the LDS Church. Interesting to note that in the 1960s, obviously, critics of the LDS Church, because of, but not only exclusive to, our priesthood and temple ban. President Nelson, of course, making the alliance between the Church of Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints and the NAACP a formal collaboration. Things like scholarships we've talked about, even most recently, and this is in sort of pseudo-collaboration, the picture of the prophet Joseph Smith in Morehouse College, being that is certainly linked to our connection with the NAACP. And the thoughts that with now a new president of the church, what will that look like moving forward? The president of the NAACP, Derek Johnson, has in fact met President Oaks and describes him as pleasant, which I thought was kind of fun.
I love that comment.
He's pleasant.
He said, all of your leaders have been pleasant, and this one is too.
Yeah, equally pleasant. He describes his work as deeply ingrained in his faith and his upbringing in the Black Baptist tradition. This is President Johnson, which prioritized self-reliance and community support. Two things that the LDS Church certainly draws upon as being significant, that being self-reliance and community support. The social challenges that are current, President Johnson characterizes the current year as the most difficult that he has witnessed regarding othering and punching down on marginalized groups, and his call to action, including to Latter-day Saints, that we have a biblical obligation to love thy neighbor, and calls on religious institutions to oppose inhumane public policies and support the vulnerable. So he feels optimistic about the future of the church with the NAACP. I think that we'll continue to do these initiatives like the scholarships, like the college programs. We will make these outward gestures towards historical black colleges, these communities where we can be able to say, not only have we been invested, we are now currently invested, and we will yet be further invested with the NAACP and with those individuals, because that's how it should be as a Christian organization.
I agree. I think this is a much better way of exhibiting our faith in the political atmosphere than forcing the posting of 10 Commandments on the on classroom walls.
Yes. Okay, let's do the next one.
Yeah. So the next one, I love this story because it's not a massive story. There's a recent interfaith collaboration bringing a new elderly care home to a Czech village. Now, why would you say is this important? Well, there were 20 seniors who needed some professional care. A village in the Czech Republic was trying to pull together the funds to make this work, and they looked out to others in the community, including interfaith organizations. And, of course, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I have to suppose a local Just Serve specialist or a local communication director or a local stake president heard about it, saw the need, filled out the application to Salt Lake City, and got some money to help them finish the interior of this building that's literally meant to minister and care for 20 people.
20 lives
And
changed.
I love that. 20 lives changed in a small village in the Czech Republic because our church has a program that enables members of the church to be able to apply for these kinds of funding projects. And that's wonderful.
I liked this quote, and it's worth sharing as we kind of round out the end of this story. Quote, churches bring a spiritual dimension and values that emphasize dignity and humanity. The home provides a place where what matters most takes place, caring for individuals with respect and love. And I kind of like that, both as a care place for these individuals, but also as we look at our own homes, that there is something. I have thought about this kind of caption or this phrase, this sentence within the LDS Church's Bible Dictionary, where it talks about home and that it is the most sacred place on earth, save only the temple. And that's in the dictionary as far as that goes.
You know,
when you
I
think
might
of the
debate
formative
that they're
things.
on equal footing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know about you growing up. My friends were very comfortable coming to my home. And I'm not sure exactly why, because our snacks weren't any better and we didn't have a swimming pool in the backyard. And, you know, if you wanted milk, you could get it, but chocolate milk was a rare treat.
Yeah.
Same thing with our kids and their friends. We had a sense that they were always at our home. And I think it was because we were trying to be more Christ-like in our home. We were trying to be nice. That was the number one family rule, was be nice. And then the number two rule is it's always Dad's fault.
Yeah.
And so they enjoyed being in our house. And I think that's very much, we enjoy being at the temple because of the feeling of peace we receive. We hope people enjoy being in our homes because of the feeling of peace that should be there.
To circle back around to the thing I said at the very beginning, just try and have your home be a place of peace,
Just
and
try.
it will be better. And
Yes.
it will be better than it currently is.
Exactly.
And you can Google, how could I make my home a better place of peace? And then try one of those things and fail miserably, maybe, but it will be better than if you just didn't. I don't know why I have such a itch on that particular thing today, but I do.
It's not a big effort. It's the small efforts that count.
It's just an effort.
Yeah, that's right.
I like this next story because whenever I see Butte, as in Butte, Montana, I always think but.
It's the only way I think of it.
I look at it, and when
It's
it
a
when
double
the
T. How else are you supposed to say it?
when the headline
Yep.
says the Butt Rescue Mission, I giggle like a small child. They received $300,000 donation from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to help finalize the construction of the Butte Rescue Mission new Center of Hope. It's designed to expand support for individuals and families experiencing homelessness and crisis in the Butte, Montana area. There's a staff there of 19. They help with this new completion that they'll be able to reach an estimated 1,750 individuals in the first year. The church also supports the mission, that is the Butte Rescue Mission, but through hands-on service. They have made this donation now. The church volunteers also assist with lifting and moving items, assembling furnishings, and organizing clothing and supplies. Again, to your point, and I don't think we talk about it enough, definitely one of these locations that a Just Serve service opportunity exists. And someone said, hey, church, we could really use this. And the church said, well, we got to, suss this out, make sure we understand what the need is, and is the money going to be best served this way? And then I like to think that President Oak sat down with one of those big checkbooks, like what you see when you get
When
reimbursed
you win
from
the sweepstakes.
when you, well, not the ginormous ones, not the gimmicky large ones, but I like to think that there's a large leather
Book of checks.
book of
that he's
checks.
signing.
And he opens it up and says, 300,000 for the Butte. And then he giggles too, but won't admit it. The Butte Rescue Mission, and then writes the check and slides it across and says, "Get
Beautiful.
that to Butte."
That's right.
And
That's
then,
right.
and then the obligatory, some reference to it's a Butte, or something like that.
That's right. Yeah.
As we send
some
them on the
grandpa
way.
humor,
Yes, of course,
or prophet of the church humor, as the case might be.
Or it can be both. One does not need to be one or the
Exactly.
other.
We're in a world of hands. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Take me to the
Okay.
next one.
Next story. I'm going to admit, Roots Tech announces a new keynote speaker, and who is the speaker? Jessica Soho. Did
Which a
everyone
lot
have,
of people will go, huh?
Well, that's exactly. Did you have the same exact response I did, which was, huh?
Well,
Now, I don't know who Jessica Soho is, but
Yeah. But then
Not-
you
not
read for
viewed,
a second, you
but
do
like-
a little bit of research, and you go, oh my gosh.
yeah. So it turns out that Jessica is the most celebrated journalist in the Philippines. She's built a career of telling in-depth stories about challenges people face and the power of resilience. She won the prestigious George Foster Peabody Award twice and has won the New York Festival's TV and Film Awards as well. For 13 years in a row, Reader's Digest Asia named Jessica the most trusted host for news and current affairs. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
she's bringing her gifts and her talents and her message to Roots Tech as one of, I believe, 4 or 5 virtual keynotes that are made available to everyone who registers. You can go online and register for free early access to schedules and classes and other things.
I don't think that it's an overstatement to say like a similar to like who's your news guy? Dan Rather? Is that your news guy?
I don't really have a news guy.
Ted Koppel, former guest of the Cultural Hall. Could that be your? Oh yeah, you just nodded you just clicked your head. He's been here in the Cultural Hall as well.
I'm not 100%er, so but
David Muir, to make it a little bit more modern.
Yeah,
That's the equivalent of who this individual is, just not
Yeah.
for the United States.
yeah,
So it's
think of your
significant.
national news anchor. Yep.
Yep.
That's who it is.
This is interesting and just worth kind of noting because of, I think, its similarity to the I'm a Mormon campaign. There is a 3-part series, The People of Faith, through BYU TV. They have gone to like 3 different areas within the church and met pioneering Latter-day Saints in these different areas. Part 1 is in Brazil. Part 2 is in Hawaii. And part 3 is in the Philippines. And this is not to diminish these people by any means. I think that their stories are phenomenal. I think that we need to do more of this. It is what I in small part feel like we do with the cultural hall, saying, hey, here's an individual with an amazing thing, with a passion for this, and you need to know about it, because not only are they all of these things outwardly, they are also inwardly a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who believes in a Latter-day Prophet, who sustains that and wants that to be able to, help people's lives for whatever that means on the earth, and whatever we're talking about them subject-wise. All of that, I think that this is a tremendous series that feels like an elongated I'm a Mormon campaign so much. I just was like, why didn't we just rebrand it, and why don't we do the People of Faith? It's like when we used to say non-members. And then
now
were
it's
told,
friends.
Yeah, and then it was like friends of other faiths, and we just sort of rebrand it. It's all the same. People of Faith is the same as I'm a Mormon. We just aren't calling it I'm a Mormon. Production is great. The folks at BYU TV have done an amazing job. The stories of these individuals. I'm not downplaying any of that. I just think it's so funny that we go, oh yeah, hey, so I got this idea. I wanna talk to people. Everyday people.
We did this a few years back. Why don't we look at doing this again?
Yeah. The I'm a Mormon campaign. No. It's different.
Way
It's
different.
people from all over. They're talking about their faith. We're giving people insight about what they do, and maybe their jobs are sort of fascinating or whatever.
And we're going to focus a little on where they come from, right?
Yeah,
we're going to make this a little
yeah.
more about where your origins are.
Yeah. So the I'm a Mormon campaign. No. Hold on. It's not that. Don't give the wind to Satan right there. It's People of Faith. It's great. I just think it seems so funny to me that more
I think
people.
it's wonderful. I need to go watch it, and it's totally set up for adding more and more and
Yes.
more over time, right?
Yes.
It's perfect.
In fact, let's take a lesson from the I'm a Mormon campaign. If you're a person of faith and you're leading a particular kind of life, you can make your own video and upload it to peopleoffaith.com and share your faith with people across the country. It's so funny to me the way that we go, yeah, no, nope. It's different. No, it's not. No, it is. It's because that was I'm a Mormon, and we're not supposed to do that. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, but people of faith, same thing. No, nope, it's not.
I can't remember who said it. Was it Shakespeare or someone else that said there's nothing new under the sun?
It was Smash Mouth, I think.
That could have been them
I think it
quoting
was
Shakespeare.
Smash Mouth. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Just
nice.
teasing.
Very nice.
All right, let's do it. Next one.
Yeah. So the next one is, I guess, an opinion piece in the Daily Signal questioning kind of where do religious communities succeed where social programs fail. And kind of the setup for the story is they're commenting on New York City and their current mayor and some of their social programs. And 16 people froze to death on a recent brutal winter weekend in Manhattan. And their claim is this is where the bureaucracy of government fails because it treats people like cases, not like people, and religion can step in and make a difference here. I don't disagree. It quotes and talks about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and their $1.45 billion spent on humanitarian aid in 2024 and how that is done so effectively. And they share some firsthand experience with welfare programs with Charlene Cummings and her experience with some homelessness and some food instability in her youth. Just thinking about this personally, this morning I was recovering a little bit because last night we had to process Bishop Storehouse orders. And I was thinking about this last night and thought, boy, this is just a strange program, this Bishop Storehouse program. We take our stake center and turn it into a grocery store for 4 hours twice a month. Isn't
Well, that's
that
how
kind
you do
of
it
a
out
weird...
in the mission field, right? We don't do
That's
it that
how
way.
we do it in the mission field. And then I started to think about it. What we're operating really is a food pantry. And this past Thursday, we operated that food pantry for 29 families.
Wow.
And 29 families had 2 weeks worth of food to sustain them because of our donation to fast offerings and the work that we do. And I think that work at that individual stake level is priceless. Sure, we have a lot of money. Sure, we could be spending more than $1.45 billion. When you see 50 people get together and create a grocery store and process orders and package them and double check them and then deliver them, and they all started doing that at 5:15 in the morning when the truck showed up,
Yeah.
It's an amazing piece of work that people are doing. And it goes largely without recognition across most of the church.
What the takeaway from me, because it talks about, should it be the government, should it be churches? And I think that the large takeaway for me is if we are going to take care of people, which as Christian people, hopefully the love thy neighbor as thyself is a guiding principle. But if it's not,
Hopefully the second great commandment is good enough for most of us.
Yeah. If it's not, check yourself before thy wreck thyself. But I would say, hey, you know what? Sometimes the government can do it. And you know what? Sometimes, as a community member, I can do it. And then even, sometimes else, as an individual, I can rise to that to be able to take care of it. And it's not any one without the other. It is all being able to do it so that all can be cared for.
Susan and I were talking about this just before we started recording because I had an interesting thing happen to me today that hadn't happened to me in a long time.
Go on.
On my mission, there were many beggars and homeless people in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and you'd drive down the street and you had to ignore the vast majority or you could, spend all of your money in one afternoon. And so following my mission president's advice, I would just carry a prayer in my heart, Lord, please just prompt me if there's someone who needs something for real. And it would happen regularly. At least a couple of times a week, I would feel a prompting, this person needs something from you. And it could be something very simple. Well, today I went to the gas station to fill up with gas on my way to a lunch appointment, and there was a gentleman standing next to the back wall of the gas station with his phone plugged in, and he had a backpack, and it was obvious that he was probably homeless. He didn't look completely disheveled, but he, looked like someone who was having a challenge, and I had to walk past him to walk to the front of the store where I was going to walk in and grab myself a beverage. And so that same feeling hit me as I was pumping my gas. And I walked in, and as I was walking in, I said, hey, man, how's it going today? He said, well, a little rough. I said, well, I'm grabbing myself a Diet Coke. Would you like anything? Mm-hmm. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, no, just tell me, what would you like anything to eat or drink from inside? And he said, well, could I get a Coke? And I said, you want it in a cup with ice? You want it in a bottle? You want it in a can? And
What
he
temperature
told,
would you like your Coke? And then suddenly you became, no, I'm just teasing.
and so I walked in, I grabbed my Gatorade Zero and grabbed him a Coke. And I thought, well, I'll grab myself a little snack here. Grabbed 2 of those, walked out, handed him the Coke and the snack and said, hope you have a better day. Mm-hmm. Right? It wasn't a huge effort. It wasn't a big deal, but the Spirit prompted me to do it. And I've passed lots of other people on the road. I'm not suggesting that we all, stop at every single person who needs it.
Sure.
Listen to those promptings. It'll bless the person. It'll bless you.
Jeez, I love that. I need to do more of that. I appreciate that kind of remembrance about something like that. Really being in tune, and when you hear stories about people being like, I was led, and then you find out on the other hand that this is the person that was praying, hey, God, if you're real, or whatever the thing may be. That's sort of the dramatic example of it, but I think that we very much are the instruments that God has in his hands. So act like it.
Unlike some previous co-hosts, I believe in miracles, but I also believe that miracles can be very, very small things and can make a huge difference.
This is interesting. By no means a miracle, but University of Utah researchers have analyzed historical hair samples to measure the long-term effectiveness of the EPA regulations on lead pollution.
Particularly in Utah. Yeah.
Books of Remembrance. Do you have a Book of Remembrance?
It's in my mother's basement somewhere.
So you do have one.
There is one. Yeah. It was the church made them. They were this weird size and shape and a weird binding technology. But there is a Book of Remembrance somewhere. It's got a white cover. I don't know if it has a hair sample in it, though. I do believe it does from when I was a child.
And some people hearing this will go, I'm sorry, what are you saying? There's a hair sample? I have one. My mom gifted me mine. It was sort of a thing where not only do I think that she wanted me to have it, but also she was like, I'm not hanging on to this anymore.
Yeah, it's taking up space in my house.
This is all your stuff. You are welcome to take care of this now. But this was a large cultural thing. Before scrapbooking, before Scrap It Up and the scissors with the shapes and all the things, these books of remembrance where it was like baby's first clipping. And when you go into something like this without the context of what and how this was, it's creepy to turn the page and have a large lock of 50, 60, 70-year-old hair attached in this thing. There's something just inherently kind of about it. But the folks at the University of Utah are like, no, we love this so much. They tested the 48 samples from Utah's Wasatch Front, a densely populated area with a history of heavy smelting and lead pollution, and confirmed that human lead absorption has plummeted since the EPA began regulating the industry in 1970. So pre-1970s, this is a little nerdy. I just think it's kind of a fun takeaway from this. Lead levels in hair averaged around 50 parts per million. In the 90s, 10 parts per million. Post-2020, 1 part per million. The decline in lead levels tracks perfectly with government policies phasing out lead in gasoline, paints, and pipes, even as overall gasoline consumption in the United States has increased. And they are able to do it because of a fun little cultural tradition in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Books of Remembrance.
Yeah. As I remember growing up, our faith isn't the only people that did this. It was kind of a cultural phenomenon, particularly the turn of the previous century, to carry a lock of hair in maybe in a little locket on a necklace or something like that of a loved one. But our church, of course, was extra and carried it forward another extra 100 years and in a very complete way.
So interesting. It's historically rooted in the Victorian era, as I did a quick Google search. It's an intimate keepsake that provides a physical connection, because if you kept their finger, that's a little weird.
Well, fingernail clippings would be weird.
Yeah, also weird.
Belly button lint?
What? Yes. Historically rooted in the Victorian era as mourning jewelry, this tradition serves to keep the essence of a person alive, offering comfort through a piece of their actual physical form.
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
And you
I
can-
love the science that went behind it and that the EPA was able to use this. And I really love the results from 50 to 20 to 10 to 1. I mean, that's amazing
Yes.
over the last 50 years. That's
Yep, so maybe
very cool.
regulations aren't all bad. Just throwing that out there. As, just cause. Just maybe like a
Verlin's going
regulation.
to claim 80% are, but yeah, 20% I'm sure are good.
Yeah. Do you hate your Latter-day Saint body?
Depends on the day.
This was an interesting article.
Yeah, so evidently KUER, I believe that's in Salt Lake City, highlighted Utah's unusually high interest in cosmetic procedures, noting that the state leads the nation in Google searches for breast augmentation and ranks near the top in cosmetic surgery availability. And I will personally testify, having driven in lots of other major cities around the country, by far the most billboards involving cosmetic surgery.
Sure.
The KURE report also noted the role of broader media visibility in shaping the conversation. Reality shows like The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives or The Housewives of Salt Lake City have brought cosmetic procedures among church members into the public eye. Separate research from the Utah Women in Leadership Project found that Latter-day Saints on average report higher rates of cosmetic surgery than the general U.S. population. While much of this data comes from Utah, the question it raises are not limited by geography. I do wonder, I know a lot of cosmetic surgery is driven by women who have gone through childbirth, particularly multiple times.
Which is
And
what I was going to say.
Utah
And
has a greater number of people bearing children. So one would surmise that it would maybe be a little more popular in Utah.
Sure.
But the question here is, does faith impact how we think about our bodies? And I thought it was interesting in this article, they talk about both the positive and the negative side. On the positive side, our bodies are a temple. The Lord has created our bodies. We're created in his image. So that should all be positive motivation to love our bodies because they're a gift from God. At the same time, because of our religiosity and some of the perfectionism that occurs within our religious practices, we tend to be far more self-critical, I think, than many others might be, and far more critical of others' bodies, maybe, than what we should be.
Yeah. I don't hate my body. I do have a lot of self-loathing. It's not body particular. It's just in general. Joking, sort of, not joking. The thing that,
Yeah.
to your point, I find it fascinating. I think that it's probably a little of all of it. And the thing for me that I just sort of always come around to is I just think, well, one, I think sort of the futility of like trying to fight aging or like your body, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we all know that person that we're like, oh, they have really leaned in to try and fight that particular thing. And so there's some element of to me, I feel like if I know who I am, the big who I am, does any of that kind of matter? That's sort of one approach that I have towards it. Like if I genuinely am like, I am a child of God, this is my purpose, then most of like how I look doesn't matter if I can really attach to that. That's giving a lot of like credit to someone who's able to like intrinsically attach themselves to something like that. But then I also think, all right, I had a couple kids and doesn't look the way that he used to, and God knows what I used to look like, and we put the utmost craftsmanship in the temple, so let's put the utmost craftsmanship here on this body, and let's get it back to where it was or where I want it to be, and
I don't think that's a terrible analogy, actually. I was thinking about people in their yards. You drive through a neighborhood, and there are some people whose houses are immaculate.
Sure.
And their yard is immaculate, and not a blade of grass is out of place. And there are other people that their yard may be completely disheveled. But I can personally testify that both may be completely happy. And both have the same kind of problems in their life as well.
Yeah.
So I kind of look at the coin and say, okay, The Lord gave me my body, and I'm here to experience things with my body, and I have no problem experiencing a pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream every once in a while to the fullest extent, right?
That sounds good.
On the other hand, I have a responsibility to learn how to control myself and my body and to overcome some of the things I would like to do and become a better spirit and person because of it. And I'll just cap it off with saying, if those who followed Satan and were cast down and didn't receive a body were able to receive even the worst of bodies on this earth, don't you think they would take it? And I think the answer is yes. So I think you're right. It falls somewhere in the middle in the moderation of things.
And also with the charge of stop being so judgy, everyone. I want to throw that out there.
And
don't hate your bodies. Jokes aside, from what I said, don't hate your bodies. That's not a way to, we aren't so that we can hate our bodies. I'm going to throw a huge wrench in our order of everything.
Throw away. Yeah.
I want to do our kind of human interest stories here because I don't want to have the opportunity to have spoken with you and not talk about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake and not talk about the Secret Lives of Mormon
obviously
Wives.
take this one to Molly. By the way, I do have a smooch, marry, kill.
Oh, we better do that
available
real
today.
quick before we get into this. But there are a couple. There's a Secret Lives update. There's a Real Housewives update, and then a tragedy. And I think that's how we'll actually end it on a tragedy there in your neck of the woods. So, tell me, smooch, marry, kill. Let's do it.
Smooch, marry, kill. Again, thanks to the McDaniel sisters for this. Today's smooch, marry, kill is we're thinking about alternatives for what the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden may have been.
Okay.
Okay, so one option is pomegranate.
Okay.
One option is papaya.
Okay.
And one option is a mandarin orange, or otherwise known as a little cutie or a halo orange.
Okay. So alternates for the fruit. Okay.
The forbidden fruit, because
The
we all
forbidden
know
fruit.
in most movies it's perceived as an apple. It
Sure.
says nowhere what type of fruit it was. And I love the fact the current temple ceremony is totally nondescript when it comes to the fruit itself. I have no idea what they're trying to make it look like. But in this case, pomegranate. What did I say? Number 2 was papaya.
Papaya,
and number 3 was a mandarin orange.
Okay. I'm going to take this on its nose as a very literal sort of thing. I will kill the pomegranate because if I'm taking a bite out of a pomegranate, the skin of the pomegranate too hard.
Oh, you can peel it.
Nope,
You can peel it.
I am taking it how I have seen depicted because I don't think.
I don't
I mean,
know, in
let's
that-
walk this
in
out.
That
This is
video
a
when
little-
I'm sitting in a dark room with a bunch of other people arrayed in white, that isn't what they do.
A doctrinal thing, though. I'm walking this out a little bit. All right.
Walk
if,
away.
If Eve had the time, because let's suppose that what you're saying is true, that there was a peel on this fruit, would she not have said, I probably shouldn't do this when she's peeling? It would have had to have been a choice in the moment.
Someone else peeled it for her first.
Could have been, but then that's a supposition. My thought is... It is, here it is, eat it. Not here it is, take the time to prep it and be
Okay,
able to eat it. And
okay.
it's my
You
interpretation
don't
in
think-
Smooch, Marry, Kill. So don't
They didn't make it
poo-poo.
into a smoothie before eating it.
I would kill the pomegranate. I would smooch the papaya, and because it's small and I can eat things like lemon peels, I don't do it anymore, but it used to be a fun party trick. I would eat the little cutie.
Okay. Well, in my case, I would kill the pomegranate as well.
You don't like the
and
little
mostly,
seeds?
I love pomegranate juice. But the little seeds drive me nuts, and the fact that I have to pick out every little piece of pomegranate to eat it, and my hands get all stained. It's the most inconvenient fruit ever made.
Sure.
So when we get up in heaven, I'm going to find out, okay, which member of the team created the pomegranate. I want to understand this. So that's my kill. My smooch will be the little cutie. I am an orange snob. I'll admit it. I grew up in California.
Sure.
We had an orange tree. We had a what's the name? A navel orange tree that has no seeds, right?
Could be.
We had a navel orange tree in our backyard. I could literally reach out of my bedroom window and pop an orange off the tree.
Come on.
And they were amazing, and I hate most oranges that I get at the grocery store now.
Because of that. The
Because
rest
of
of us
that.
are like, oh, the
So
citrus is so good.
I'm an orange snob, so no little cuties for me. I can smooch that one, and I will marry the papaya every day. Papaya smoothie is one of the greatest memories of almost every morning of my mission. Was a papaya smoothie. So that's my smooch, Marie.
Every morning on my mission, a nice tall glass of get out there and do the work. That's what I enjoyed. Every single morning.
Mine was served in a nice little cup with having been made by a cook that we paid for, and yes, it was
Yeah, that's
very
rough.
Pleasant.
That's rough for you.
It was tough.
That's
it was
rough.
tough.
That's
Now
a rough.
we had no warm showers, but we had fresh papaya juice.
There is. So we've got just a couple of news stories and just a couple of minutes to do it. I think this is awesome. This is out of the BYU student newspaper, talking about a institute program that is adapted for young adults with special needs. It's run through the church. During the class, volunteers are paired with a buddy. We see this a lot in high schools now. And these are individuals who volunteer and then can be the person's buddy for their institute class. The way the gospel should be, it's walked out. I would imagine it would be life-changing to be able to have that buddy, even if that buddy's assigned to you, right? You're just thinking about, what could I do? I'd like a different perspective, like to serve in a different way, to be able to be a part of an adapted institute program. And link in the show notes so you can read more about it. I would imagine that this feels like the truest sense of the gospel walked out.
I think it's beautiful. I think it is. I do think we need to talk about some people with some bad behavior. We keep avoiding that.
Okay.
I'm thinking particularly of the Wasatch County Republican Party chair and his recent problems.
Circumventing the order of what we were going to do.
If you can circumvent the order, I will circumvent the order as well.
All right, take me, because then we're going to do the tragic story right after this. I just want you to know what you've done.
The Wasatch County Republican Party has released a statement after their chair was arrested for allegedly waterboarding his 16-year-old family member. A couple of quick comments here. Number one, waterboarding is a very specific torture method. This was not waterboarding, but we'll talk about it. It was terrible, as the case may be. Secondly, 16-year-old family member, this is a child, although they don't say that. And the reason for this, Heber City Police were told that Johnston's 16-year-old relative had arrived at her home after spending time with friends. Johnson was reportedly upset because the 16-year-old's room wasn't completely clean. Parents, a warning here. If your child's room is not completely clean, waterboarding is not an effective means of motivating cleanliness.
Well, I don't know, Verlin. I don't know. There's some room for discussion,
according
maybe.
to the police reports and the court documents, Johnson allegedly grabbed the minor by the back of the neck and then dunked her head into a sink filled with water multiple times. The 16-year-old victim told police that she could not breathe for 20 to 30 seconds and that Johnson had previously abused other younger members of the family, including an individual who is now 8 years old. Jeez. Johnson has been arrested. He is put in jail. No bail has been set. That tells you something. And now he is awaiting arraignment and trial. Vice Chair Patty Sprun is temporarily assuming leadership. I think it's really interesting that the Wasatch County GOP organization is very, very clear on an important point, which is everyone is innocent until proven guilty.
Sure.
But they don't give much time to the victim in their statement here.
Yeah.
And this is a tragedy. This is a terrible thing for any adult to do to a child. I had teenage girls. We raised 2 of them. There were moments when they would not talk to me.
Sure.
Right? And there were moments where they needed to be disciplined. I never once thought about shoving them in a sink full of water and making them hold their breath.
Yeah.
So,
thanks for that.
Terrible thing. We'll watch as things develop there.
Now, people will say, now, wait a minute. I didn't read anywhere that that person's a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Well, I would just tell you that he is at very least Mormon adjacent with a name like David Johnson. But I'll give you one step further. It's David Nephi Johnson. So if he isn't, he is not too
parents
very
were.
far removed and is the head of the GOP in Wasatch County, which is like Heber City and Walsburg and up that way. So there's that.
Yep.
I asked you about this story, and I think
You
that
did.
we end here an absolute tragedy out of, this is North Carolina.
Correct.
A refugee from Ukraine here in the United States to be safe from all of the things that are going on in Ukraine, here has a boyfriend and is murdered by her boyfriend.
Her ex-boyfriend. Yeah. Yeah, this is 21-year-old young woman, Katya Tovmash, again, Ukrainian refugee, living in a small town called Vaz, North Carolina.
And that's sort of you by you, kind of-ish?
Sort of within an hour of me. It's a very small town, but lots of people know Pinehurst, North Carolina. It's right next to Pinehurst.
Okay.
And it's in what is called the Sand Hill Stake of the church. Evidently she was murdered by her ex-boyfriend. We don't know all of the details that go behind it, but all accounts, she was an amazing young lady. She was best friends with all of her siblings, especially a new sister. They had recently broken up, and this ex-boyfriend decided he would take things into his own hands. It's rattled the whole Ukrainian refugee community, which is fairly large here in North Carolina. They're shaken by it, and I'm sure the local ward and stake are shaken by it as well.
It's significant to know it was a Ukrainian refugee that was stabbed on the train too, right?
That
Wasn't
is
it
correct.
in Charlotte?
In Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah.
Coming to America to find a better place to be able to do that, and I don't think that this is an America thing, right? I just think that this is such a sad story. You had mentioned that you had heard a lot about this story about this individual with no mention of her being a member of the Latter-day Saint community.
Yeah, all of the news coverage here in North Carolina has not mentioned her membership in the church at all.
Though,
in fact, Susan and I were chatting about it when you texted me about it, and Susan goes, "Oh, she was a member? I had no idea." And Susan is our state communications director, so you would think that she would have, but no.
Yeah, beloved by.
I feel terrible for her family. I feel terrible for all of the YSAs that she's been involved with, and certainly they must know her. It's just a terrible thing.
Well, I'm glad you decided to end on that, Verlin. Great choice there. As always, love spending time with you.
Back to waterboarding. No, just kidding.
Yeah, back to water. Hey!
For those that want to know the definition of waterboarding,
yes, please.
You place the person on their back, you put a cloth of some kind over their face, and then you wet the cloth and continue wetting the cloth so they cannot breathe effectively through the cloth. That's what waterboarding is.
Thank you for that very, very dark, very grim, very definitive
Back to my Jack
explanation.
Reacher book reading days. Yes.
Hope that this episode has nourished and strengthened your body.
And if you weren't healthy enough to listen this week, you'll be healthy enough to listen next week.
And that when the time comes, you'll be able to travel home in safety. In the meantime,
Go Tar Heels.
Chocolate Cake Bites Podcast,
Chris at Alpine Lakes Travel.
Debbie Wanless,
The Tiger with a U. And Latter Day 3D Studio.
we'll be saving a seat for you
On the back row
of
the Cultural Hall.
Save me a seat, it's sure to be neat on the back row. We read